Ray Dalio runs one of the largest hedge funds in the world. He's at Davos right now. He recently gave an interview to Andrew Ross Sorkin from CNBC. They were talking about, is cash trash? Is gold something that you should own or drop? And what about Bitcoin? Remember, Ray Dalio literally manages over $100 billion. He's always thinking about various markets, various assets. Here's exactly what he had to say about currencies, gold, and Bitcoin.
One of the things that you and I have talked about a lot over the years is cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin. And in the past year or two, it felt to me that you had shifted your view about them a little bit and actually got excited to think that maybe Bitcoin and others could get interesting. And I'm curious how you think about that now.
I think a digital gold, which would be a Bitcoin type of thing, is something that probably, in the interest of diversification of finding an alternative to gold, has a little spot relative to gold and then relative to other assets. But I think that we're in an environment that we're now going to ask, what is the new money? And so when I say cash is trash, what I mean is that all currencies will be currencies that will go down in relationships to goods and services. And we are in an environment where we're going to be looking at what are those assets? What is the type of money that you could move between countries that's a medium of exchange and a storehold of wealth? Bitcoin has made a tremendous achievement over the last 11 years of being able to. It's a tiny percentage of my portfolio.
Now, this is fascinating to see that the world's largest hedge fund, he's talking about that he owns Bitcoin. It may be a small percentage of his portfolio, but he understands the nature of having an international currency that isn't beholden to any one country or any one monetary policy that is run by individuals or a single organization. Bitcoin being that replacement for gold, digital sound money, has a place in his portfolio. Now, Ray's really interesting because he's not necessarily going to go drop gold. He owns lots of gold as well. He also has access to a number of different currencies. But his ultimate belief is that fiat currencies are trash. Cash is trash, as you've probably heard him say. Now, that reason is because he sees over a long period of time that various central banks around the world are going to have to devalue their currency. It's the only way they can handle all this debt. They're going to constantly devalue the currency. And so what you're going to see is goods and services will continue to appreciate, investment assets will continue to appreciate, all against these fiat currencies. Now, Bitcoin obviously serving as a digital store of value and maybe even as a medium of exchange on a global scale. That ends up being a really interesting asset. As Ray specifically said, in the last 11 years, Bitcoin has achieved tremendous success. But it still has a long way to go. The US dollar's been around for about 50 years. And so Bitcoin at 11 or 12 years isn't that much younger than fiat currencies. But on a grand scale, gold has been around for thousands and thousands of years. Bitcoin obviously is not going to catch up to it anytime soon. And therefore, what we are going to watch is that there's going to be millions and millions of citizens around the world, hundreds of millions, maybe even billions, that start to adopt something like Bitcoin, not because it's been around the longest, but because it has superior properties, things like its divisibility, its portability, and its programmatic monetary policy. To see the world's largest hedge fund manager talking about Bitcoin, saying he owns it, and talking about the tremendous success over the last 11 years, it's pretty incredible. And I think that he's on to something.